Yes, good day, everybody. This is Yin Yang in California with Morsels of a Thought number 1626. And I'm adjusting the camera so it's straight right now. Oh boy. Yeah, it's straight. Okay. I hope you have a good day. I'm trying to inspire you to make it a good day. Make it a wisely chosen set of steps today. Every time I want to bring you morsels of a thought, I am hoping I'm bringing you thoughts of wisdom. When we know the right thing to do, that's called wisdom. And when we do it, that's called virtue. Knowing the right thing to do isn't just knowing things. Knowing the right thing to do is a part of virtue. Virtue is when the previous generations, like we said in Samurai yesterday, previous generations have brought everything to today in a way that we all have survived the elements. We have survived the meteor showers. Per se didn't kill us, or whatever. We fed ourselves. We fed our children. I don't have children, but you know what I mean. Generation to generation, we have lived off of virtue. Without virtue, we cannot survive this world because bad can kill good and virtue kills bad. So we want to be good and we want to have virtue and we want to keep on living through the world and through this chaos as we have to move along. We have to do our thing. If it's affecting you, like Duxi Vong, who started me on this venture, said, if it's not affecting you, then don't even worry about it. But I think that we have to cry out if things aren't going very well for us, and if we kick and scream, we may get what we need. So, anyway, learn virtue, please. And these are some pitfalls and virtuous steps you can take. This is a man who, it's a Highwayman edition, The Dirt Merchants by Henning Morales. The story, it's a triumph, it's a coming of age adventure. Henning Morales wrote this. It is Radio Clash Chapter 19, page 138. We are on this. Today is 1626 consecutive days I have brought these to you, hopefully to give you a good day and make you happy and cheerful. You don't have to be cheerful if you don't want to, but at least you're not gonna be glum. That's what I'm hoping. Yeah, I watched that show and I turned glum. No. Nah, no. No. Like I say to my cats, no. When she climbs on here. She tried to bite this. I'm serious. She bit. Anyway. Tuesday, April 10th. Jackson Heights, Queens. Spencer and Teddy Nelson turned right on 34th Avenue off 84th Street and pulled up to a black two-door Lincoln with two Hispanic guys sitting inside. Spencer jumped out of the van. "Did you see this yet?" Spencer said, working his way over to the Lincoln. "See what?" the passenger said in a thick Spanish accent. "Wholesale merchandise. Come over, check it out." "Not interested," the passenger said, slurring his words. Spencer could tell he'd been drinking. "Come on, guy, you'll never see it cheaper." "Bringing over here," said the inebriated Cuban. The driver said nothing. "Nah, man, over here, come on, it'll take a second," answered Spencer. "You got radios?" "Yeah, an awesome auto-reverse cassette deck. Check it out." "Bring in here." Spencer reluctantly grabbed the cassette deck box out of the back of the van and walked it over to the Lincoln. He showed it to the passenger from the window. "Let me see it," he requested. Spencer gave the radio to him and leaned into the car window to show him all the bells and whistles. With no one else around to pitch, Teddy was leaning on the van with his legs crossed, smoking a Marlboro, watching. Spencer noticed that the driver was even more drunk than the passenger, and that there was an open bottle of whiskey and two paper cups filled halfway up resting on the center console. For some reason, the smell of whiskey sickened Spencer ever since he was a kid and was playing near his father's bar. "Let me see," slurred the other drunken Cuban. He grabbed it from his friend. Spencer leaned in a little further, and before he realized what was happening, the driver threw the car into drive and sped off with Spencer's legs dangling out the window. Out of instinct, Spencer went to grab the radio. Don't lose the march. He almost had it out of the driver's hand when the passenger grabbed at it. Teddy threw the cigarette on the ground and jumped into the van in hot pursuit. The driver turned right on Roosevelt Boulevard and sped down the street. As the car turned, the whiskey bottle and the paper cups went flying in every direction, dousing the three of them. Let go, you greasy rats, cockroach, idiot, flea, jerk-offs! You losers, you're crazy!" Spencer yelled. He yelled and screamed all types of indiscernible obscenities at them at the top of his lungs. The Cubans were yelling hysterically in Spanish back at him. The Lincoln increased speed to 25 miles an hour on the busy street, but Spencer wouldn't let go. Teddy was three cars behind, swerving in and out of traffic to catch up. The driver made a right on 86th Street and now could get the car into high gear. The car sped up to 35 miles an hour, and Teddy was trailing half a block behind. Spencer looked down at the ground and realized how fast they were traveling, and that they were not slowing down. He let go of the radio and went hip first into the pavement as the Lincoln sped off. He tumbled several times, scraping his knee, hitting his head a couple of times, and twisting his ankle as he slammed into a parked car with the small of his back. Teddy pulled up in disbelief, pulled the van over, and ran over to where Spencer lay against the parked car. "Yo, Hitter, that was crazy. You should be dead, man. What were you doing?" asked Teddy. Spencer, more nauseated by the smell of spilled whiskey than disoriented by the fall, shook his head swiftly and got to his feet. "Idiot's got the radio, man," he said calmly, limping over to the van. "You're a maniac, risking your life for a $40 radio," Teddy said, shaking his head. Teddy said that they were what they were both thinking, and knowing the answer. "What now?" "Back to work, sucker," said Spencer, jumping in the passenger seat. "You drive." They parked at a meter at the 80th Street and Roosevelt subway station. Teddy gathered customers as Spencer sat on the back of the van to rest his mangled ankle and closed 20 more sales. In Morsels of a Thought of Wisdom, we are currently reading the Highwayman edition of The Dirt Merchants. Highwayman edition, a novel by Henning Morales. Coming of age adventure, a triumph, a true story. Now, we are trying to give you morsels of a thought of wisdom for your life, and in the meantime, try to entertain a little, have some fun. Okay? So, chapter 20. Skank by Numbers, Friday, April 27th. As April closed out, Spencer was back on a roll. His savings account was now headed in the right direction again. He felt more and more comfortable in his role as leader and manager. He was due to receive his third trophy at American Wholesalers for Manager of the Month. With respect to the board, in 2 weeks he would join Gino and Cuddy on the top slot in office training, the youngest rep to reach that level in the company. Gino was scouting locations in Connecticut for his office and would be out soon. Cuddy was next, then Spencer. Seeing Sharon once every 2 weeks was about as much of a relationship as he could handle, with all the hours working during the week and extra sleep he needed on the weekends. His father was still working the nods and grunts at family functions, still not really talking to Spencer, but trying to communicate in his way with his oldest son. His friends had gotten used to him being relegated to a weekend friend and part-time leader. He loaned small amounts of money to any of his friends that would ask but wouldn't tell Jim. As cold as the winter was, the spring was becoming excessively hot, with temperatures in the mid-70s. As Banda arrived solo in his Corvette convertible with the top down, the stragglers at the coffee truck paid for their coffees and buttered rolls and scattered back into the pit. The guys were warmed up and ready for a huge Friday. Banda was dressed in a blue pinstriped Armani double-vested suit with a gold Ferragamo tie. His hair was in the usual meticulous blow dry. He walked in as usual, confident, long strides, chest out. He walked into the pit where the guys got down on their one knee and were silent. He acknowledged the group and smiled ear to ear as he started. The ancient law of averages, man, oh man, if I can tell you the one thing that you must keep in your mind at all times, it's that the game of sales is a numbers game. First of all, you must keep score. In life, it's subjective. In sales, it's numbers. Plain and simple. The law of averages is a law. LAW. That means it applies whether you're aware of it or not. Like gravity. Listen to this stuff. Poor sucker doesn't believe in gravity, jumps off the building. He goes down no matter what his opinion is on the subject of gravity. Law of averages is a law. We're always talking about gambling around here, maybe too much. Remember, guys, only gamble if you can afford to lose it. I'm not going to mention names, but I heard of some of you guys losing your merch money, the untouchable money, at the mob blackjack spots in the city. I bet you got reamed by JB, but that's another subject. Frankie and Timmy squirmed a little. The rest of the guys didn't notice, focusing on the speech. Fellas, the law of averages works very much like rolling dice. It's a mathematical law. The odds of rolling a double six is 35 to 1, always, regardless of what you think. What that means is to an amazingly small margin of error. If you roll two dice 3,500 times, you'll roll 100 double sixes. Some of you non-believers are going to waste an hour later rolling dice to check the math. It works every time. Sales is the same way. The law of averages says that you'll roll a double six once for every 35 rolls. The law of averages says that even the most mediocre guy in the field will close one sale in 5 if he follows the 5 steps with the proper attitude. Now, this means you must go through the entire presentation. This is why it's important to go through the presentation all the way through for that person to count as a presentation. That's why you pitch everyone, and that's why it doesn't matter if they buy or not. It matters if they stay for the 5 steps. If they buy, great, no big deal. If they don't, great, no big deal. The key is seeing a lot of people. What's the key component of McDonald's success? It's not the best hamburger, it's not the best commercials, it's not the best management. It is the real estate, where they put the building. The building goes where there's most traffic. The owner of the franchise doesn't have a heart attack when a car drives by and doesn't come in, does he? Of course not. Thousands of cars drive by without going in, but it's known that if a certain amount of thousands do not go in, a certain percentage will go in. Now, you may wind up with a heart attack if you go in there, but the owner's okay. He knows that enough will go in to ensure that after forking over $1 million plus for that for that franchise, it'll make money. Some of you guys are like that guy jumping off the bridge financially. You're behaving as if the law of averages doesn't apply to you. You're out there cherry picking, you're getting neg when you go through a dry spell, and you're putting down the territory when you're the one who chose it in the first place. Every once in a while, you cruise through the entire day with a steady flow of sales, but that's the exception to the rule. For the most part, there's always at least one dry spell throughout the day. All that means is that you're due for the sale. Just like when rolling those dice, you may not see a double six through 100 rolls, but it's coming. Sudden 3 or 4 will come up. Same with the field. You're due, but here's the key. When things are tough, that's when keeping your attitude right is the most important. If you let your attitude down or start cutting corners on your presentation, your customers will feel it, and the law of averages will not work for you. You only get 1 in 5 with the right attitude and applying the rest of the 8 steps and going through the entire presentation. That's why it's the process that's important, not the sale. Go through the process. None of this window pitching. Don't be lazy. Get the hell out of your car and bring goods in. When you tell people that all you want them to do is check out what you got, not that you want them to buy, it's the truth. In fact, turn it around and see how many no's you can get. But remember, get your 3 no's. So you want to move 20 pieces? See 100 people all the way through. So you got to move, move, move. See 20 people an hour and you got it. Come back early. See 20 people a day and you'll come back with 4 or 5 and blame the weather or the area or your neg trainee or whatever. Doesn't matter. No one wants to hear your excuses. Okay, so hear that? No one wants to hear your excuses and morsels of a thought. We try to get some wisdom, hopefully, that we may make it a great day and that we provide provide the world with some virtue. Here we are with the Highwayman edition of Henning Morales's book, The Dirt Merchants. Okay, back to the book, page 144. We know what happened. If you picked an area where aren't enough people, it's your fault. If you let the trainee get to your attitude, it's your own fault for letting some loser with a bad attitude ruin your day. If you're too scared or lazy to bring goods in, then whose fault is it? The group in unison. It's your own fault. Can't hear you, shouted Banda, strutting. It's your own fault. Good. Now, at first, your ignorance on fire